What's going on, YouTube? It's James with Shimer Fantasy Battle Reports. Got another battle report for you today. Is the ETC 2023 Amsterdam round number 4, guys. Guys, what is going on? It's your boy James here with another battle report. Guys, our quick recap. I'm gonna try to make these games or these videos a little bit faster. I don't like going to the 50-minute mark, but explaining the team and explaining the scenario with the miniatures ends up taking a lot more time than I expect usually, and I just kind of ramble on. But there's two things I want to do. Number one, I want to get you guys this video out as soon as possible. I am going to Canada, coincidentally, as I'm recording my game against Canada. But I'm going to Canada this weekend for the Fort City Fracas. It is a 1 year. It's kind of a weird time for us. It is a 1 year anniversary from Fracas, but it's also the 1 year anniversary since my dad died. We had to leave Fracas early. We got stopped by the border patrol because they think we're a biker gang, and then anyways, but my dad passed away that year, so it's kind of like, it's weird. It's just everything, and the funny part is, and this is just like kind of how the world repeats itself, is last year when in Fracas I was supposed to play Iric in Game 4. Well, this is Game 4 of ETC, and I'm playing Iric. So it's weird. It's so fucking weird. Anyways, guys. Anyways, let me give you a quick recap on what happened on games 1 through 3. Games 1 and 2 we lost. We had a really bad day. Games 1 and 2 against the Netherlands and France. And then, but we did not get capped. Each game we at least came up with a couple points. The teams never got a full 100 points off of us. Game 3, we played against Portugal. We had a submarine game. We actually capped them. And we're pushed up to the middle tables, or low middle tables, against Canada. And it's the wetbacks versus the frostbacks. Guys, what is going on? We're excited to play this game. So let's go over really quick the matrix and also players on this team, alright? So first of all, Canada was the only team that we actually got a practice round against, besides like a couple guys in Norway. Usually, honestly, Norway and Mexico, we have a very friendly relationship. A lot of the players tend to play with us throughout the year anyways. So Canada, though, we had Iric, who's my opponent this round, obviously. We had Iric practice with Team Mexico. We thought he might have been on Team Mexico. He didn't give us any commitment. He kind of gave us he doesn't know if he's even coming, and then he doesn't know if he's coming with Canada or Mexico. The only reason he thought about coming with Mexico was because he wanted to play Sylvan Elves, and Canada has one of the best Sylvan Elf players with Matt Lau. One of the best players I've ever met, to be honest. So that being said, number one, Matt is on the team, and I understand that Matt can kick our ass, more or less. We played a practice round against them, and I want to say I played Doug. Did I play Doug? Anyways, out of we had 8 matches set up for the practice game, and this was right before the event, ETC, so we didn't even finish them. We got 4 games off. My brother played Iric, and he lost. Okay, I played Doug Lamb with his Saurian Ancients, and Doug wiped the floor with me. If it wasn't me, it was Lucas. Who did I play then? No, I didn't. I played Lawrence Mathis. I played Mathis with his Dwarven Holds, and I got either a 10-10 or a 9-11, something like that. It was real close. It was really close. I don't remember if I got the 9 or if I got a 10, but he was playing a Slayer list with a gun line, and it's very similar to our Slayer list with a gun line. So it was one of those scenarios where I just kind of did my best to just not lose points. But Lucas went against Doug Lamb, and Doug smoked Lucas on that. Which is very rare. Lucas doesn't really rarely come back with a 0. Then I played Doug on a practice randomly, and I ended up getting 0 points on Doug. So now I know Matt Lau is really good. I know Doug Lamb is really good. I know Iric is a good player. So they have some really good players on their team. There's other players on their team that have that I know this is like their first big event. Um, so we don't know how that's going to play out. And then, so right off the bat, we're trying to figure out who we're going to throw out first, obviously. The other games that went on, I'm trying to remember who it was. We had me and Jesse got the point. Oh, and Jorge. Jorge played against Matt. Jorge was playing Infernal Dwarves against Matt Lau's Sylvan Elves. He wanted to try some things out, and what ended up happening, this is the practice round I'm talking about. He ended up losing big, and I kept making the joke that the Silva brothers got more points than my other players combined. Um, but technically, Jesse had more points than them combined. Anyways, guys, here's the team picture of Canada. These guys, they're Matt's obviously the, or not obviously, but he's the one on the right standing up. Alex Harrison's in the center. He's their captain or coach. And then we have Eric on the left, Doug Lamb right in front, Turbulent in between Alex and Doug, Ryan Freeberg, and Lawrence Mathis. All right. Now I'm trying to remember very hard who did I throw out first. I believe, and I'm trying to see if this makes sense. We had a conversation at lunch, and Titty told me just throw out Johnny first. Johnny has not been performing, and if we throw out Johnny, he doesn't really have any good chances of getting a good match. So, if we throw out Johnny, we might be able to bait somebody out, and then we could see what they give us, more or less, right? So, we go ahead. I go with that strategy. I throw out Johnny first. They ended up throwing out Matt Lau and somebody else. Johnny at this point understood his station, and he said, fine, give me Matt. All right, so we took Matt out of the equation. Matt is the best player that I think that they have. They could correct me if they're wrong. It could be Turbulent. I could be wrong about that. I didn't look at their scores, to be fair. But we've eliminated the fact that Matt could take out one of my better players by giving him one of, unfortunately, our worst players at the time. Next up, we threw out, I believe it was Chummer. Chummer was another player who had yellow across the table. So since he had yellow across the table, we threw him out to see what happens. Or it might have been that they gave us Dwarven Holes and we threw out Chummer and somebody else. But either way, Chummer ends up getting Lawrence Mathis. We ended up getting Titty against the Highborn Elf, and I believe the Highborn Elf Turbulent was one of the players that everybody kind of wanted. Everybody was like green on him, and I know that I've overheard him talking after this game that most people think that they're green on him, but then he kicks their ass. So I trust Titty. Titty's a good player. I'm going to go ahead and give him to him. Also, the other thing, too, is trying to avoid getting Titty a red match or an orange match. I want to get Titty matches that he should be getting. So I give it to him. Highborn Elves. The Gonzalo ended up taking Ryan Freeberg, and that was our first 4 drops. Or then we go ahead and we drop my brother. My brother at this point has a choice between Saurian Ancients, Warriors of the Dark Gods. Those are green matches for him, even though he did not want Saurian Ancients. He bitched and bitched and bitched, and this goes back, and I know he's gonna watch my video eventually, and he's like, I didn't bitch, but we were playing basketball. We were straight up playing basketball, and my brother showed up early, and me and him were just playing, me and him, before everybody else started showing up to play basketball, and we're talking about Canada, because we were talking about the practice rounds. And I said, I think you can handle Doug. And he's like, no, I can't handle Doug. He blah, blah, blah. He has a Titan pod. I go, Chewy, you gotta fucking not be scared of the Titan pod. Oh, he could stomp my ogres. I don't want to fight a Titan pod that can stomp my ogres. I'm like, stop being a little bitch about it, man. Just fucking fight the Titan pod. So we did the math on it. We did the math. If a rock goes into it, how many hits, wounds does it go either way on average rolls, right? If a Tusker unit goes into it, how many hits, wounds, whatever. And at almost every occasion, just raw, without magic, ogres would do okay against it. It wasn't that bad. So I'm like, man. So I put him down for a good match against Saurian Ancients. And he was just like, I don't know. Doug beat you, and Doug beat Lucas. And he's going to kick my ass. I said, okay, whatever. So they go ahead. And by the way, so he has Saurian as a good match. He has Warriors as a good match. Vampires and Undying Dynasty, he's a red. I throw my brother out. Okay? And I decide to hold myself as the card. Okay? They throw out, I think, it might have been Vampire Covenant. And when they threw out Vampire Covenant, we gave them back Demon Legions and Dwarven. Okay, full stack. Our dwarven player, he has flame cannons. He has cannons. The Vampire Covenant have like two altars that are just going to lose to it. The Warriors player too also is a scenario where they have to fight and they're slower initiative than the Slayer Lord. So I was like, this is a good match either way. So we got full stack in a good spot. And then Lucas was in a good spot. Lucas was fine with either one. He preferred the Warriors, but at this point in his Matrix, he's telling me, dude, I've been playing this like the second or third Vampire Covenant this week. This one's going to be the third in our team, but I know he played some in the ESC as well. He's like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. I said, okay, fine. So, uh, Lucas is playing Vampire Covenant. Full Stack's playing Warriors of the Dark Gods. We get my brother's cards back, and it's Saurian Ancients and Undying Dynasties. And I'm holding myself in my hand, and I'm looking at my brother's card, and I'm looking at him, and he's like, "No, I don't." I'm like, "I know my brother's gonna lose against Iric. I know it." And I'm looking at him. I'm like, "It's Doug," and he's like, "No." I'm like, "I don't give a fuck. You're taking this. You're taking this, and you're gonna fight this goddamn Titan pod." And he's like, "Fuck, fine, fine," you know. I think in our meeting too, we talked about it, and he was saying that too, like, "Oh, fine, I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it." Then the magic words came out. What's the scenario and what's the deployment? The deployment was diagonal. I am trying to remember what the scenario was. Match 4. Scenario was hold the center. So we're playing the diagonal and we're playing hold the center. And my brother goes off like, oh shit, I love this. And I was like, all right, man, good luck. So, anyways, it's not about my brother's game, but I'm gonna bring it up again because it's it's a good story. Anyways, so that's how the tables look. All right. So my opponent, let's go over Iric's list real quick. Edic, Iric, Drubik. It's Polish if you want to know, by the way. All right. Iric, he has a Death Cult Hierarch, Arc of the Ages, Wizard Master Evocation. Another Death Cult Hierarch, Wizard Master Cosmo. He has a Pharaoh General with Godslayer. He has the giant block of 52 skeletons. He has a Tomb Harbinger with the Sun's Embrace. 20 skeletons, 10 skeleton cavalry, 10 skeleton cavalry, 5 skeleton scouts, 37 Necro Guard, 3 Cataphracts, 6 Scarabs, and 4 Stand Stalkers. If you guys were curious, I played a very similar list, if not the same list, in my Warhol video against Gonzalo, and I think that might have been the inspiration for this list. But one of the things about this list is that unit of skeletons is incredibly hard to kill. It revives so many bodies per magic phase that it's almost impossible to kill. Okay. Second off, it's a lot of fucking magic, and the Evo Master with the Cosmo Master, he's going to snipe you, he's going to magic you, burn their guys, all this bullshit, right? Alright, so for magic, he got Spectral Blaze, Touch of the Heart, Truth of Time, Touch of the Reaper, Ancestral Aid, and Hasten the Hour. He also has Perception of Strength, Death is Only the Beginning, which I think is his attribute, and Unity of Divergence. Here's a picture of Eric. Alright, now, my magic, I got Flaming Swords, Meteor Swarm, which is Scorching Salvo, Enveloping Embers, and I ended up taking, I think maybe the Hereditary. I got a Hand of Heaven right there off of Koopa. And, oh, yeah, I did take the Hereditary. Alright, now we're playing the Diagonal. The other funny part about this is maybe a week before ETC, I played Ryan Caps. And we rolled for, I said, let's just roll for the objective based on the ETC maps. And he's like, sure. So we rolled this exact map, on this exact diagonal. And I got the same side. So I knew immediately that my trolls fit in that spot right there. And I knew immediately that 12 inches from that building to the trolls, I could get the general and the BSB in range and not have to worry about the trolls. I don't know why this worked this way. This is almost identical to the way I set up against Ryan Caps. I ended up dropping everything for first. He let that go through, obviously. And I found it fucking hilarious that this is exactly the same thing I did with Caps. There's a little bit differences. I think the difference in where I have the Comic Goblins I think one of the issues I had against Caps was that the savages being in the ruins, I could lose them to just like chaff and then forcing me to charge, and then I run through the ruins. But I got Koopa on that right side, and I ended up dropping the scouting Grotlings off by Koopa, and I just spread out my bolt throwers. But that's how the table looks. Now he goes ahead and he deploys back. He doesn't really get near the center as well. He knows that I could just log charge and get across the table. That's one of the benefits to my brother's list. Again, was his movement. Once you're in a diagonal, the 18 inches isn't that much. So if you have a movement 9 unit, which my brother does, it's only a 9 on Swift Stride. For my trolls, it would probably be like 11, and I don't have a K-Pack unit, so yeah, it would just be the trolls on 11. I go ahead and I deploy my Grotlings over to the right side. I scout them up. I scout, then I Vanguard. Now, right away, I'm going to go ahead and point this out. Irik's cool guy. We're having a very friendly talk. We're talking very cordially about everything. It's kind of like a friend game. You know what I mean? Quote unquote. It's not so much an ETC game where we're playing super strict. There's a very loose, movement and like look at the horses. Like as the horses are not entirely on a straight line, etc., etc. Right? So we have that understanding. We're going forward with that understanding. Right? First thing I do is I move my Grotlings up on the top right. Okay, in this picture right here, turn one, Orcs and Goblins, turn one. I move my Grotlings up at the top of the right. I go ahead and I tell him several times, okay, this is their movement, this is their max movement. Can you wheel your Scarabs past the Grotlings? He goes, no. I go, are you sure? Yes. Okay, and he's like, and I measured it again, and he goes, James, I'm telling you, man, if I'm telling you they can't get through, they can't get through. I said, okay, fine. So then I moved Koopa, and I put Koopa out of the line inside of his giant block of 50 skeletons. Not that I should even care, really, to be fair, about the 50 skeletons. But he decides he's just like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. I can't see you. I can't turn the Scarabs. I can't. The one thing is the Scarabs can really fuck up Koopa because they have poison attacks. All he has to do is get a reroll hits, Ancestral Aid up, and I just lose Koopa to the fucking Scarab Swarms. It's not the first time it's happened. That's why I know this. All right, Trolls move up, but the Trolls also have to worry about the snakes and the cavalry on the left side. My Orcs move up so I can start grabbing the center point. And you can see how the map already has the center marked out. So as long as you're in that white circle, you're earning points, right? Go ahead and I got my Pharaohs moving up slowly because I don't want to kill them in DTs for no reason. And then my Goblins. There's just fucking Pharaoh sitting in the Goblins. That's hilarious. I see him. He's just stuck there. Anyways, let's go over magic. Go ahead and I do a Scorching Salvo. I end up getting a wound off onto the Cataphract here. Kill off 2 of the Skeleton Horsemen there. And go ahead and get Enveloping Embers off. He tries to stop it. It doesn't stop. But it didn't do much. It killed 4 Necroguard. 4. Anyways, I'm going to start shooting into his horsemen. I end up killing off a couple more. He only has 2 left. I shoot it with the skewer, hoping to kill both of them. Only killed 1. That's going to bite me in the ass because he will revive them in a minute. It's going to start off turn 1. Undying Dynasties. Undying Dynasties turn 1. Here it goes, guys. He tells me, again, this goes from the, yeah, I can't hit you, bro. Don't worry. I said, okay. He's like, but if I charge, my Scarab touches the back tip of Koopa. Man, I had to measure that shit like 6 times. I'm like, he's seriously, like literally, like a cunt hair difference. Of how much he could touch my little tip of Koopa's back. Koopa being touched, you know? If I didn't flock Koopa's base, would he have been touched? I don't know. But it was literally just, I could have just shifted him, moved him a little bit. I had plenty of space. I was just, being a little bit loose. Because that's how the feel was. And that's not how it happened. Jesus Christ on a motorbike. So he's like, oh yeah, if I overrun on an 8, I get your back corner. But just in case, I'm going to chaff you. You son of a bitch. Anyways, Magic, he gets a touch of the heart, does a wound onto my Baxter. Then he goes ahead. I think he tried to do the other one, the Touch of the Reaper, and I stopped that when I had to. And then he gets Spectral Blades off here. I kind of had to let it go because I had to stop the Ancestral Aid. Now, one of the things that's happening is I am failing the dice rolls. He's doing a lot of 2 dice spells. One of them I needed to stop on like a 5. I roll 2 dice. I roll a 4. One of them, like, with the crystal ball, I needed like I don't know, a 6 or 7, and I roll like a 2. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? So he gets off Hasten the Hour, ends up killing off Bazooka. Alright, that sucks. Over here, he kills my fucking Grotlings, and he overruns, and he touches the tip, getting a new charge onto Koopa. Oh, come on, man. Come on. You know, it, the one thing is, and I'm going to see Iric this weekend, is it is ETC. I roll with it. It was my mistake. I roll with it. I own it. It was my mistake. I should have quadruple checked. I should have thought of it. I should have, like, the way I had him chaffed, I should have made sure that there was no way possible this should have happened. But he, it snuck by. It was kind of like, yeah, bro, it's fine. I told you I can't get through. I can't get through. I should have paid attention more. That's my mistake. It won't happen again. At least not in this year. Maybe the year after I'll probably make the same mistake. But it's one of those things that it won't happen again. I'll pay better attention to stuff like that. My turn. Oh, I just didn't take pictures of a whole turn. There was Orcs and Goblins turn 2. Orcs and Goblins turn 2, I did the Flaming Swords. I fucking destroyed a bunch of them. And all I did was really barely move. You could see that I moved my Trolls in a block formation because I was afraid of the flank charge. If he charges the flank, at least I had more Trolls in the flank. And then I moved my guys that wide. His turn, Undying Dynasties turn 2. He pushes up into the objective. He's going to grab the objective. He chaffs Koopa in case Koopa kills the Scarabs. His Scarabs whiffed turn 1. Turn 1, he only got 1 poison that went through, and I made 2 armor saves on his rerolling to wound shit, whatever. My Savages are basically waiting for that Scarabs to pop Koopa, though, and I didn't expect that combat to go the way it did, and it did, which is fine. I should have probably turned the Savages to face the flank of his Skeletons. I don't think I think that's part of the problem here was I didn't leave myself in a scenario where I could see the center of the table with the Savages, because I was so focused on the goddamn Scarabs, that shouldn't even have happened. Alright. Magic, he ends up getting Spectral Blades up, which restores 2 of the swarms. Then he gets Truth of Time, gets more swarms. And he ends up racking up 7 fucking wounds on Koopa. Koopa with the Flaming Swords. He even questioned it. Why did you do Flaming Swords? I did Flaming Swords so my fucking little Goblins on top could kill these fucking Scarabs. But he's going to end up killing Koopa on the next turn. It's going to start off turn 3. Orcs and Goblins. Orcs and Goblins turn 3. I go ahead and I wog, and these aren't even big charges, but I charged the Black Orcs into his Skeletons. Part of that, I really wanted to charge the Trolls into the Necro Guard, but I know they have Lethal Strike. They have a character in the front. I don't even know what the fucking character gives them, but it doesn't fucking matter. He has Ranks, Banner, BSB. That's already 6 combat res, just with Ranks, Banner, and BSB. So I'm going to go ahead and charge the Black Orcs in. I'm going to use the Trolls as chaff, unfortunately. My Feral Orcs are going to clear off these fucking... these guys over here. I believe I can just wheel into them, and he has to close the door to me, which is how it's going to be. Magic got a 5 on the Flux. Go ahead, and he dispels... No, he doesn't dispel shit. I don't even know what I did. I think he dispelled my reroll to hit. That's what it was. Anyways, I don't know why I took a picture of my fucking hand. I don't know. Anyways, I think I just failed my rolls. I think I just kept failing my rolls, so nothing really happened. As you can see in this picture, Koopa is dead. Nothing was really shot. I reformed my Goblins to be in rank formation, even though they're sloppy and falling off. My Savages destroyed these the horses, and I decided to not respect the swarms anymore. I decided to say, fuck the swarms, they're behind me, there was only 2 of them, I'm going to turn towards where the action is. My Black Orcs get into combat with the Skeletons, and I rip them apart. Now, I do have the ability to turn off one of his items, right? And in this picture here, you could see I already fucked up a bunch of Skeletons. He barely touched any of my Orcs. I believe I turn off, if it's not Godslayer, it's Destiny's Call, right? I don't remember, okay? I don't really remember. But you can see, my general's on my left corner, his general's on his left corner, which is our right side, right, in this picture. So, They don't have to fight unless we challenge, right? But I have to declare what I'm turning off first. So I turn off his Godslayer, right? I should have honestly, I should have just turned off his ward save, right? Because I still have a champion at this point. Okay, uh, so I go ahead and I just rip apart his units, right? He is gonna hold there. He's gonna be stubborn, whatever. Now I want to say I turned off his Godslayer and I challenged. He declined. Okay, so when he declined, this comes back in the next round or two, but he's gonna hold here for a turn. He barely crumbles. He does the fucking. If you guys fought Undying Dynasties, you know you're like, all right, I did 27 wounds, and they're like, well, you know, you did 27 wounds, but I got blah blah blah, and they halves it, and then I got blah blah blah, and the BSP is right there, so I lose one model. Alright, whatever. He lost, and it wasn't one, it was four. He lost four models. I was close. Anyways, it's gonna start off his turn. Undying Dynasties turn 3. Undying Dynasties turn 3. He charges into my trolls right here. Now this is my fault here. I was so focused on the cataphracts. I wanted to keep the frontage to both. But what ended up happening here is he can't really charge more than 2 ranks in, so I can't even get my trolls to fight all of them in. I could only get this one guy touching the corner in. That kind of stupid and sucked. Anyways, he charges these guys into the BGKs. By the way, Baxter left this unit of BGKs to go into the other unit. So he's going to get in there. I do stand and shoot, and I end up killing off 2. The swarms do not respect me. They charge into the ass of my savages, which is fine. It is what it is. Alright, and that's how the table looks. Alright. At this point, he's already earning points for the objective. His Sandstalkers pop up to the right of my Goblins. It is what it is. And then he does a conga line with his Skeletons. He does this so I don't charge into his Hierophant. If I can get into his Hierophant, he'll start crumbling. He'll start losing units. And he also loses a good chunk of his magic. Alright. Magic, he ends up getting a Truth to Time here. He starts restoring wounds. He ends up getting a Perception of Strength. I think I tried to stop this, but I failed to stop it. I almost failed to stop everything, by the way. So it starts to rack up on me. Over here, he Sandstalks me. He kills 2 of my guys with his laser beams. And then over here, he pops my trolls. Trolls run through everything. They do not rally. They will run off the table. He pops my BGKs. It's going to start off turn 3. Or turn 4. Turn 4, Orcs and Goblins. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, on a motorbike. Now, at this point, by the way, going to go back to this picture here. My Black Orcs, with his Perception of Strength and his Truth of Time, he is actually starting to rip apart my Black Orcs. That's stupid. He gets a wound off on my General. That's stupid. It's starting to just... it's just starting to fall apart here. So, turn 4, I go ahead and I charge my Goblins here into the flank of his unit. Now, this was a conversation we had for a while, which was, could I even fit? So I grabbed, you can see all my Goblins, I pulled them out. What ends up happening is I end up showing him, I said, let me just roll it to see if it even matters. I do make it. It's like an 8 or 9 on the dice. I make it on 2 dice. Then I grab the Goblins to show him that I fit exactly in the gap with the wheel, which is something that we had to figure out because I have to wheel past his snakes, turn a left turn like almost 90 degrees and touch into the unit. So I can. Okay, so the Goblins get into the flank, boom, like so. As you can see, they don't even touch the ass of the savages. Alright. Magic. Got a 2 on the flux. All I do is bring the pain on this unit. Now, this is a big turn. I declare I'm going to turn off his Godslayer and I'm going to challenge with my General. He's like, I decline. I said, that's fine. I'm going to beat the shit out of this unit, right? So I beat the shit out of it. I have a bunch of Goblins. I got the Lethal Strike fucking Shady Shankers. My Wizard's in a horrible spot, right? But he declines. And just say I killed about 3 ranks of his unit, right? He had like maybe the front rank of Skeletons left. And he's like, haha, doesn't matter. I am stubborn. I go, you're not stubborn. And he go, I should have caught that on the first round when you said it, but I'm catching it now. You are not stubborn. And he's like, yes, I am. I have a magic item that gives me stubborn. I go, you lose stubborn the second you declined the challenge. And he's like, but it always works. I said, it doesn't always work. And he goes, it's the magic item. And I look at the magic item, which it doesn't say anything. It just says give the unit stubborn, but or bodyguard, or one or the other, right? But when you look under refusing the duel, it says very clearly, and I'm probably posting it right now so you can see it, that the unit loses stubborn. The minute the character was stubborn, refuses the duel. He's like, son of a bitch. And at this point, I realized my mistake. Number one, I should have looked at his items better, because with the Mikonox Totem, I could have just turned off his stubborn item the first fucking round. Number two is he declined the duel the first time. He might not have. He might have just gave me the champ, right? But he declined the duel the first time, and I could have just caused him to crumble the first round. The fact that this went on for another round is a pain in my ass, because what ends up happening is he ends up losing his entire skeleton unit just down to the one Pharaoh with the Godslayer. Alright, my goblins kind of crunch in, or my orcs move over, and it's going to start off his turn. Over here, my savages, I lose a couple savages. I eventually kill this fucking scarab swarm, and I turn around to face south, more or less. And the reason I did this was because if I turn towards his skeletons, he's just going to conga line me. I'm going to be stuck there fighting one or two skeletons with two orcs, right? If I turn this way, this is where the action is. And pretty much that's it for me. That's all I have left on the table. He's cleaning up my war machines. He killed pretty much my trolls, my BGKs. So all I have is the savage unit and the 3 units in combat with his Pharaoh. His Pharaoh did take 2 wounds from the charge, but it's going to start off his turn. Turn 4. Undying Dynasties. Undying Dynasties turn 4 charges the Pharaoh into the Necro Guard into the flank of my Black Orcs. He charges his Sand Scorpions into the flank of my Black Orcs. Okay, he can't see the Goblins for some reason. He gets in with both. Okay, I want you to pay attention to how he charged in here, and I'll show you what happens in a minute. All right. Doesn't look like much happened in Magic. Yeah, I think I shut off a good chunk of Magic. And the main reason why I destroyed these skeletons too is that Bring of the Pain, the spell. Yeah, I think this is the only turn I shut down his Magic. It kind of looks that way. So close combat, I turn off his Godslayer, because I still can, and I challenge again. This time he has a champ on the other side that can handle it, so he will. I kill the champ. He does he destroy my Black Orcs? Oh, so this was brought up in the USA chat, by the way. I had to call a judge for this. What ends up happening here is it's his turn. Okay? He challenges with a champion. I accept with my general, because I think my champion's dead in this unit. He challenges with the champion from this unit of Necro Guard. Okay? I accept with my general, even though I want my general to kill his guy. Okay? But I don't think I have a possible unit or champion that could do it anymore. I don't remember if my champ's dead. I'm assuming my champ is dead right now in this video, because again, this is about a couple months ago already at this point. But what he didn't know could happen, he did not know this could happen, was I challenged him with my goblins. And he said, no, I'm already challenging you. I said, I understand. But I fucked up this exact situation in another video. And I was corrected in the comment section. This could happen. He goes, no, I'm challenging you first. You cannot challenge me again. I said, I definitely can. And he's like, what? And I'm like, all right. So I call the ref. Bob and Nick comes over and he goes, yes, you can. He goes, this is one combat. This is another combat. And yes, they're connected. But this is one combat. This is another combat. This could challenge here. This could challenge here. That's that. He's like, I never heard about that. I had to pull up the duels rule and everything like that. Anyways, we're going to continue on. He kills my champ. I kill his champ. Right? He ends up killing off enough black orcs where it's gonna matter. But his snakes, he's like, let me do my petrifying gaze, and he goes to do it, and he's like, I get, 8 gaze or whatever it is, and I'm like, no, you don't, man. You get the one guy, and he's like, no, no, no. They they all can attack with their gaze because it's a special attack. I go, that is not how it works, man. If that's the case, I could be puking with every troll. He goes, it doesn't say that you can't do it. I'm like, it shouldn't have to. It's what's in base contact. So we had to call the ref again. And he's like, no, James, you don't have to call the ref. You don't have to call the ref. I'm like, dude. Then he tries to slide his guy from the back up, and I go, you can't. You charge that direction. That's how your unit's stuck at the moment until the combat. But it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter, which is the funniest part to me. It's like he's gonna win anyways, right? But he's telling me that like all the snake gaze could go. I show him, or I don't even show him because there's nothing in there that's saying that they can't, which is he's correct on that. But it's a special attack. You don't get to do everything if they're not touching base-to-base contact, which only one guy is in base-to-base contact. Anyways, what ends up happening is my general runs away. He chases. My goblins hold steadfast. And again, he killed enough black orcs where I can't hold stubborn. He has charge flank, big flank, 4 ranks, 2 banners, and about 5 wounds. No, he has like 9 wounds actually. Yeah, like 13. 13 combat res. I have flank, big flank, 4 ranks, and a couple wounds, I think, maybe. So I lose combat regardless. I run. I don't even have a BSB anymore, so it doesn't matter. He chases. He catches my general. His other guy's stuck in combat with my shady gits, but it's not going to matter. Turn 5 orcs and goblins. All I do is turn my savages this way to worry about the next fight. You can see the Sandstalkers ran that way to chase off my general. And yeah, close combat. My magic's stuck in combat there, but I try to go ahead and I give him another shady git. Over here, I'm gonna lose this. Yeah. And then he ends up just destroying my goblins. I think he just got me with his necro guard, touched the tip. Oh, that's all it took. That's all it took. Pops the unit. My savages are there, facing on turn 6. I could charge his necro guard. I think I turn around towards his pharaoh, and at this point I don't even know what I'm doing. Turn 6, either I charge his pharaoh or he charged me. It doesn't really matter. He basically kills my back row and I hold there, and he has the objective. Nothing's gonna happen. I give him a champ on the next round if I wanted to. I think I just try to kill his pharaoh straight up, but he made his regen saves, and I have no support, no magic. Ugh, this all went downhill really fast, really fast. The big part of it was the losing Koopa against the skeletons, Koopa against the Godslayer, Koopa against his whole army really, except the Scarab Swarms would have been fine. But that first mistake, it was kind of bullshit, but at the same time, it's my fault for not double checking that. And like I said, I own it. It's ETC. I shouldn't be doing stuff like that. It doesn't matter how cool somebody sounds when they're like, yeah, don't worry about it, buddy. I got you. I understand what you're trying to do. You gotta make sure, especially in an ETC setting, you gotta make sure that doesn't fly, more or less. You know what I mean? That you pay more attention. And that's why I'm like, whatever. It happened. We say it in the closing arguments that my magic defense sucked. It did this round. Honestly, like you notice in a lot of the other games, the other battle reports, I don't even mention a magic phase because I usually shut it down or let them get one good spell off using a crystal ball. This game, the dice were against me on those, and I don't really ever blame dice. But this literally could not stop the magic. I'll 4 dice against his 2 or 3 dice, and I'll still lose. It was just one of those games. He got the objective. He kind of whooped my ass. I made a lot of mistakes. I made mistakes with how I chaffed with the trolls. I made a major mistake with losing Koopa early on. And then I made a mistake of just not turning off his stubborn. I could have just turned off his stubborn. At this point, it doesn't really matter because the new book, there is no Mechanox Totem, there is no item nullifier, and that's one of the major points of Orcs and Goblins that actually help them be competitive in the old game. Anyways, As for my team, let's go over that really quick. We have Mr. Fullstack here. He was against the Warriors of the Dark cosplayer. This is actually a match I set up at the practice round. I wanted to see this match. My whole point was this guy had to confront Fullstack. He had to fight Fullstack. And Fullstack's army has some really nasty characters in it. So there was a couple misfires here. He ended up taking. I think that's why one of my pictures was missing on turn 2 was because I was helping him on a timeout. But he ended up having a issue with a unit flanking into his Slayers. He lost a big block of Slayers early on. But the game ended up turning out really fucking bloody for both of them. Let me see. I didn't do the scoring for the team. I will do that while I go ahead and go for this. This is Canada. All right. So full stack. Let's go. By the way, I got 1 point. I was actually happy that I got 1 point. Like I said, I didn't get zeroed. I honestly had Iric as a bad match. I had him as a 7. So I had him as a 7. I got a 1. I didn't expect to win. I don't generally do good against Undying Dynasties, and that just kind of shows you why, more or less. But it does push me down on my matrix, unfortunately. All right, let's see. Gonzalo ended up winning against Ryan Freeberg, or is it Freiberger? I don't know. Black Lancer on the forums, but let's see. Gonzalo ended up getting 19 points. He was putting down that he would get 14 points. So he ended up getting slightly higher than his matrix, 14, but he got 19, yep. So he got a +5. All right, let's see. Next up was Titty versus Turbulent. This is a match that I did not expect this to go this way. Turbulent ended up getting a 15-point win against T-Bolt. I overheard him tell his coach that was probably the best player I've ever played against. And one of the, but literally, like, he won still. And not many people could say that about going against Titty, to be honest. Unless you're French and play him all the time. But Titty had that down as a 12. And he ended up coming back with a 5, which is a -7 on his matrix. So Titty is no longer the leader on the matrix, I don't think. All right, let's go down. George versus Lawrence Mathis. This was a 10-10. I think he had him down as a 10-10. Let's see. Matrix. Chummer had him down as a 10. Yeah, that was a perfect pairing. Okay. Let's go down next. We had Johnny Lopez versus Matt Lau. Johnny's playing Sylvan Elves. Matt Lau's playing Sylvan Elves. Johnny had him down as a 11. That did not happen. All right. He ended up getting 4 points. So that was a -7 for him. All right. Let's keep going. Javier, Mr. Fullstack, he got his 10-10 finally. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ on a motorbike. All right. Yeah, I was next to this game. This game was literally to the left of me, and it was kind of fun to watch. But Fullstack ended up getting. I think he could have got higher. He was a little bit timid on knights, but I'm like, dude, you have enough attacks that will rip apart these knights at like agility 8, armor piercing like 5 or something stupid. But it ended up becoming a 10-10, and it was a proper match for both of them. It ended up going for a while too, to like, it was one of the last matches to finish. He ended up having that still as a loss on the matrix. But I kind of helped him with the matrix on that point. Yeah, I'm excited that he got a tie, that he did not get a loss. All right, that one's actually a pretty big one for us, because if he did get the loss on that game, we would have lost the scenario. All right, I got a 1. Well, that was bad. Lucas got a 19. Like I said, Lucas was kind of on a roll against vampires that whole weekend. He ended up saying originally that he would get a 10 on VC. 10. He ended up getting a 19, which puts him as the new leader in points, as well as the Matrix. right now Lucas is on fire. I am trying to feed Lucas whoever he needs to be the best in the world. Anyways, and then Chew Dog. Oops, I put that wrong. 15 to 10. I saved this one for last on purpose because this game, I swear to God, this is my brother. He's going against Doug Lamb. Doug Lamb 20 and 0'd me, 20 and 0'd Lucas. And at this point, Doug is on fire. Doug's actually doing really good against Saurian Ancients, or on Saurian Ancients. He goes to play my brother. Round one, I take a break, and I think this is again why my pictures are missing on that turn two. I get called for a timeout on my brother, and I go over there to check it out. And my brother has Doug's, what do they call it, skinks? Hold on, let me open up his list so I can get the right names. Round 4. He has the 32 skink warriors. He has a Thyroskitis in the unit with the skink warriors. And in the front, there's a unit of 9 tribesmen touching tip to tip, or 10 tribesmen with a shaman in it. A unit of Tuskers that charge the front, and a unit of Tuskers that charge the flank. Doug is not even pulling the bodies off. He's just saying, okay, 23 of them are dead. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And then what's even crazier is I don't expect my brother to kill the Thyroskitis straight up, but I'm assuming he's going to break his steadfast, so he's going to overrun into the Taurosaur, and this is all in like turn 1. I was like, what happened? He goes, I think he deployed too close to the line. Holy shit. Holy shit. By the time I got back, like on round 3 or round 4, Doug did have a little comeback. He ended up killing his tribesmen. But as you can see in this picture here, fucking Jesse has his Tegu guards surrounded, where his general and his BSB charge the flank, his Rock charge the front, and his... So he has the general and the BSB in the flank, he has the Rock in the front, and he has another unit of Tuskers in the flank. Doug was defeated. Doug was like, what the hell happened? And I told Jesse, I go, Jesse, you were so scared of that fucking Titan pod. You fucking destroyed this guy. You destroyed him. Jesse got a big 17-point win. Honestly, it is a team game, right? It is a team game. I lost. Titty lost. Johnny lost. Okay? But if Jesse didn't pick up the slack, if Full Stack didn't pick up the slack, we would have lost. We ended up getting an 85 to 75 against Canada. We ended up getting a win. It's a medium-sized win. I wouldn't say it's a small win, but it's a medium-sized win. I think that it's a huge part. I knew I took a grenade against Eirik. I knew Eirik was going to beat me, to be fair. I think we've had this conversation before. I think he knew he was going to beat me. I knew he was going to beat me. I knew he was going to beat Jesse if he played Jesse. But I got Jesse against Doug. And, that was a big win for my brother. It was a big win for us. And we're going to go into the next game against Finland. Finland is a returning game from Italy. We played them last year in Italy. We're going to play them again this year. Besides that, let me see if I have any other pictures here. We just had dinner together. We went to a different place across the street, and then like we said, we all stayed at the same hotel, so it's kind of cool just to hang out with the group. We ended up hanging out that night, I believe, because of we're running out of nights there, more or less. And then our guy Full Stack ended up having to rent a car, so he ended up just dropping us off downtown that day. Besides that, I guess the rest we could talk about next time.
I forgot it.
Whoops. We can talk about next time. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here with Eirik's recap, and then I'll come right back.
All right. I forgot to do this yesterday, so I am totally going to get Eirik here. He's barely up getting his coffee. You want to talk about yesterday's game?
Well, like usual, we met in the middle. It was a fun game. Obviously, one mistake by you. change the whole game.
Yeah.
The overrun with the swarms
Yes.
and the flank. What are you gonna do? We were kind of playing fast, so I could see it just a little nudge of an overrun, and I would have missed it. Totally changed the game.
Yeah.
Once I got the swarms in the flank, I got the magic up, which you couldn't stop all game because
I fucking felt like so many goddamn dispels.
everyone.
Yeah. Not everyone. I mean, it made him like after turn 5.
Yeah.
When it didn't matter anymore.
After turn 5, I finally shook your hand. A good job, James. You finally dispelled the spell.
Yeah, he did.
And your
shake
crystal
my
ball was useless all game.
hand.
By one.
This is the only game. This is the only game.
So would you keep it?
Yeah, keep it. Every other game
It's been like good, right?
Yeah, this is the only game that's done bad. Every other game, maybe one spell goes off, and then some phases I just shut down.
But that's not your game.
Huh?
It's not your game.
Nah, it wasn't my game.
What'd you do?
Oh, they want a pitcher. All right.
All right, well,
Thanks for the game, man.
thanks, man.
All right, going back into my games here. Koopa did not get much. Koopa got 185 points. He's still the top scorer with 2,800 points. Catching up to him is the Goblin Horde. The Goblin Horde got a huge fucking win this game by getting 745 points. Most of it was the skeleton unit and then a couple wounds off the Pharaoh. But they got that flank charge, and it was a big swing. It was a huge swing. They got fucking, I think I got 1 point out of them because of that. I had multiple people from Canada tell me, they're like, I can't believe you actually beat that skeleton block. Like, nobody kills every skeleton in that skeleton block. And I go, it really was just the fact that you had to make sure he wasn't calling stubborn. Oh, man. But you know what? I it's not even a IRIC thing. It's an Undying Dynasty thing. Or just a rules team thing, because they give them a Pharaoh that has multi-wound 2 against Divine with Divine attacks, and they could have a 4-up ward or a 4-up regen. But, like, God forbid they give me a good weapon in Orcs and Goblins, or God forbid they give me a good, item. It's not fair. It's just not fair. Anyways, Dread's Iron Legion did do some work, but they still lost 637 points. Then after that, it just goes downhill. Baxter got only 130. The Foot Clan only got 164. Trolls barely got anything. Skewer barely got anything. The BGKs only barely got anything. Right now, the BGKs are in last place. But again, you can't count that alone. You have the BGKs with Baxter, the Pyromaniac, pushes them up to like 2,400 points, which would put you in third place. So the Skewers are actually at the bottom of the barrel, but the Skewers only cost me 90 points apiece. The Trolls are the worst. The Trolls are being the worst right now. Let's see how they do in the next 2 games. It might change my opinion on them, but it doesn't really matter because they're different Trolls nowadays. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you today. This video ended up being still 50 fucking minutes. God damn it. Alright, guys. By the way, I'm going to say it like this. Look at these beautiful trays. Then look at these. If you like the trays on picture A versus picture B, that's because you got to go to movementtrade.com. Go to movementtrade.com, guys, and see you next time. Take care and peace.